I moved home. My parents lived in Phelps
Mm-hmm.
at the time. They had moved there, and my dad and I had an interest in opening a little restaurant.
Okay.
So I went up there, and we were going to do this, and I don't know what happened. I don't remember, but it all fell through. So 2 weeks, I was off Taco Bell payroll for 2 weeks, and they called me and offered me Schofield
Okay.
as a manager.
Wow.
And of course, I took it, as a full manager.
It was still close enough to home, and you were probably familiar with Wausau.
Well, a little bit.
Yeah.
And I also needed a job.
Right.
And for me, that was huge, getting promoted to my own store.
Uh-huh.
However, I didn't know it was the slowest one in the whole market.
Uh-huh.
And, oh my God, we had so much fun the first year. I was a terrible employee.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so boring.
Uh-huh.
We would go throw tostadas over the building.
Okay.
Just for something to do in the afternoon.
Right.
I mean, one time, we were... I don't know if you guys remember, but back when we had the big chandeliers on the ceiling
Uh-huh.
for the lighting in the dining room,
Uh-huh.
and Kim, my partner in crime at the time, her and I were always working together, and we're standing on the front line, with our arms crossed, and just, looking around, and all of a sudden one of the chandeliers fell right off the ceiling.
Oh.
Just boom, right on the table.
Uh-huh.
And she looked at me, and I looked at her, and I said, "You want to get that?" And she said, "Okay." So she just went out and started cleaning it up. It was funnier than hell. But shit like that used to happen.
Sure. But eventually, you obviously got your act together and
And
started, selling product and, buying the place.
Mm. Well, what happened was, there was 3 of us in the country that were what they considered small markets
Uh-huh.
and had a lot of time in. And they offered us what they called business facilities lease.
Okay.
And they did not want to own these anymore. Because
Uh-huh.
there was nothing else here.
Uh-huh.
There was no marketing power. There was nothing.
Uh-huh.
So they offered me a 3-year lease. And during that time, I was supposed to save up enough money to become a real franchisee. And then I could buy it out
Okay.
at a good deal.
Right.
Well, I think it took me 6 years to do it,
Uh-huh.
to get the money right. But that's because I took care of the place when it was,
Uh-huh.
when I was supposed to be putting the money away.
You reinvested.
I was fixing things. And,
Yep.
and I had percentage rent,
Uh-huh.
which that's the racket. That's the thing to be into.
Yeah.
Yeah, like McDonald's.
Uh-huh.
And anyway, it took me till 83, I believe, to buy it out.
Okay.
And so then I became almost a real franchisee. And I say almost because I never had to have the financial commitment and backing that you would to be a real franchisee.
Got it. Yeah.
And I got a hold of it, and it was unbelievable.
Uh-huh.
We had a 40-seat dining room, which is tiny,
Right.
and we had a 2-car stacked drive-through.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you could fit one at the window or the menu board,
Okay, yeah.
and one behind it.
Right.
And we had no room. And when I moved here, I think we made almost $200,000 a year in sales.
Okay.
My last year before I sold it, or my best year, I should say, before I sold it, we did $994,000.
Wow.
And Taco Bell said, number one, I would never hit that kind of number with the old sign.
Uh-huh.
If you remember, I had the old sign. That was another thing. They put a lot of pressure on me to do what they call a scrape and rebuild.
Uh-huh.
When those buildings are 20 years old, they take them down.
Okay.
And I refused.
Uh-huh.
I put all this money into keeping the place up and
Uh-huh.
taking care of it, and then they want me to rip it down. It was a waste.
Right.
And I wouldn't do it. well, I never could do it anyway. I never had the money, but where was I going with this?
Well, we're just talking about
Taco Bell, yeah.
story, yeah. And how you became an owner.
Yeah, as a franchisee.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and I kept trying to, before I really became a franchisee, the key is to get the building.
Uh-huh.
So you don't have to pay percentage rent.
Uh-huh.
Well, I paid well over $400,000 for that building.
Wow.
But if I would have been on percentage rent, I would have paid a hell of a lot more.
Okay.
So that's how I kept trying to borrow $250,000.
Uh-huh.
And they kept telling me no, couldn't get it. Well, when I went for $750,000, I got it.
Really? Wow.
And that's how I got into it.
Uh-huh. And it was successful, and then you sold it.
Yep, and then I sold it because I couldn't stand it anymore.
Right.
I couldn't take the people. I couldn't take the kids.
Sure.
These kids that come out of their houses don't know how to hold a broom.
Right.
Or moms and dads calling and saying, you know, my little Susie isn't going to sweep the dining room at midnight on a Saturday.
Right.
I mean, it just used to be kids wanted a job.
Right.
Wanted to go out and work. Wanted to earn their own money. Couldn't wait.
Yeah.
At least all the kids I knew. And when they got impossible to teach, is pretty much when I...
So then you wanted to deal with drunks. That's
Not really.
Yeah.
I never wanted the bar
Yeah.
for the bar.
So how did that happen then?
I wanted the bar for the property.
Okay.
Because I had that across the street.
Right.
And I had the house.
Uh-huh.
And then there was the bar. And for years, Otto and I, Jeff Otto,
Yep.
had talked about me buying it. And I had tried a couple times and couldn't. Well, when this whole deal came up with the $750,000,
Right.
that's how I got the bar, too. I did it at the same time.
So you owned both properties at the same time?
Yep.
Okay.
I owned them both.
Uh-huh.
And it was great because, you know, a lot of the people I knew their whole lives. Kids.
Uh-huh.
You know, that started coming and eating at Taco Bell when they were little kids and ate there their whole lives with their parents. And then they'd come to the bar.
Right.
You know, so I'm like, you know, I got something going here.
Yeah.
And I did.
Uh-huh.
Well, then, like I said, then we got the bar. That was a whole new experience.
Right. Right.
And it just...
But you had a hospitality background, so it wasn't completely like a fish out of water.
No, not at all. It was, you know, I said, from the first day I bought the thing, I said, this is just going to be fun.
Uh-huh.
It's not going to be about being a big drunk thing.
Uh-huh.
And I really tried not to make it that way.
Right.
I just wanted to have fun.
Uh-huh.
And we did. We had a lot of fun. And I took a lot of shit, too, over the years from my fellow peers.
Sure.
You know, that I don't know if they thought I was just trying to show off or...
Uh-huh.
But I wasn't. You know, like they'd make fun of me because I would give away $600 in prize money on Halloween.
Uh-huh.
You know, I wasn't trying to show off.
Right.
But my parking lot was full every Halloween.
Right.
Matter of fact, we had 2 Halloween parties a year.
Uh-huh.
Because we had an April Fool's Halloween party every year, too.
Uh-huh.
Because that's my favorite holiday, or was.
Uh-huh.
But,
And you'd have to have the Halloween party on Halloween, whether it was a Monday, Tuesday.
Absolutely.
Weekend, yeah.
I never did this wait for the weekend shit. And you had the party. I mean, you don't celebrate Christmas on Saturday if it falls on a Monday.
Right.
Who started that?
Right.
That's just stupid.
But it's your business. You can do what you want.
That's right.
And you did.
I did. And that's the other thing that was very important to me. Taco Bell was successful, and I helped with a lot of that.
Uh-huh.
But that was not me. I mean, that wasn't my ideas. Or
Right.
with the bar, that was my creative.
Uh-huh.
You know, and that kind of proved it to myself that I
Uh-huh.
I did kind of know what I was doing.